All right, guys, it is episode number 6 of the Coach's Compass. It's your boy, Coach Coop. Got my boy Jay here, and our first ever guest here. We got our boy Sam Portland out of the UK. Super excited about this one because it's very rarely that you get to link up with guys that are all about speed and actually follow the science behind it. And as always, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and like the comments and all that stuff. But Sam, has a tremendous background, worked with many athletes from the NFL, CFL, ELF, rugby, soccer, and much more. He is the founder of Speed by Portland, founder of Legacy Mastermind, and so much more, but most importantly, a speed guy. And that's one thing that is always awesome to talk to. But first thing, Sam, what got you into this industry and got you to fall in love with speed so much?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me on. I didn't know I was the first guest, so let's make sure that we do it justice. And so what kind of got me into speed is I was always fast. I was always fast as a kid. That was like my USP. I got let go from a professional rugby academy for doing small. So I was fast, skinny, and it just like the animal went. And I just got around people, and then, I was like 5'10" and 70 kilos at 14, 15. Fast forward to 19, 6'4", 100 kilos, and can still run 23 mile an hour. And that in that period of time, I was on this whole journey. I actually broke my leg. And it was not really coaching. I broke my leg at one game where the local scout from Wasps Rugby went to the wrong club to watch me play. And then 2 years later, he hired me as a coach at Wasps as a strength and conditioning coach. And that was the birth of really figuring it out, because the NHS, I had to re-up my own leg. They put a pin in it and they put it in wrong. I had to learn how to work it. Because they basically pinned my leg open and shot, and I had to figure it out. So that's when you were remember Napster and BitTorrent and all that stuff. Remember those? You would download side tracks. So I was all people in between trying to download a movie or trying to download a dating movie. I was trying to download training material. So I was finding all the old Soviet stuff and all the Russian training principles and all these sorts of things to try and figure it out. Because I started with, how the hell am I going to get my speed back? And then you find the answers, and then the answers become the coaching. And that was kind of it for me. And it's addictive. Running fast is addictive. It's so in your wallet.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is even back then you didn't have the proper rehabbing to get back on the field, so you kind of had to figure it all out yourself.
Yeah, 100% right. It was so much fun because I basically, what was it, for 8 months I didn't have a cast, so they screwed a metal rod inside my shin.
Cool.
And I didn't have a cast on it, and I had to sleep upright, and I had cramps, and my leg just disappeared. And so then I took over my parents' conservatory in muscle weights, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night with cramps. So I would go downstairs and work out at 3 o'clock in the morning, sit on the bike, go back to sleep, and then kind of start repeating that process. And then that was fun. Then in the middle of the night, it's pitch black, and you're on the elevator, that old school bench press, one with the really tight Norwegian thing. It was one of them, and that's kind
of trying to rack it on there perfectly so you don't fall over.
You got this much.
Blood touching your fingers, and that was the whole. And then I took over the shed, and then I built a bigger shed, and it was just about how do I get this back, and how do I get that feeling? Because you guys said when you're out there playing, doesn't matter what it is, nothing else matters, and I'm surprised.
That's crazy. So during the whole time of rehabbing back and getting back to trying to play, that's when you started studying strength and conditioning.
Are you more so self-taught, or is there any formal education? I'm kind of the same way, where I don't have any really true formal education besides a certificate. More so
Yeah,
self-taught.
so like I've got the masters, I've got an undergrad, but they mean nothing if I'm completely honest. I did this super box, and I'm dyslexic, so like I can't end this. I'm dyslexic, and I want them about to release a book, right? So this has been been brutal.
And that's what
So
publishers
that-
are for and everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna like so close to firing my editor because he keeps making it better for me. I'm like, no, I don't know how to spell that word, so just change it. So all of my education has come from answering questions, and that's kind of how I work with coaches. And still now, I'll buy a ton of books, and if I've got a question, I'll be like, well, which book can I find the answer? And I'll go in and I'll get the information out, and then I'll apply it straight away. Can take it to the track or take it to the gym or whatever it was, and then go from there. And so by the time I was at university, I'd already been coaching athletes. Back at the university, I'd been coaching athletes for about 3 years in my back garden and in the parks and stuff like that. And then by the time I got to my masters, I was already working at Wasps. So I was already working in professional club by the time I had done that. So if I wish I didn't have to pay the rest of the money to do it the day one I got out there, it's like, isn't that working? No. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
So like being, because a lot of coaches get into this and they want to say that, and a lot of people hide behind the certifications. Do you think that with the certifications, do they mean that much, or did this experience really kind of?
yeah, I always work backwards from results, really. And maybe, and there's a couple of, and I've got a few biases. Like, I don't have a single certification. Like I don't have any of those. Because like education, the traditional education, all of these big corporation certifications, they're all just profit machines. And so they're just there to make money. They don't regulate anything, because if our industry was meant to be regulated, we would be like regulated like doctors and physiotherapists and have like minimum standards to attain. So we don't have that. So I just don't see the point. And my bias is, that's why I thought it's like Sand Portland, Sport Speed. Like if I want to work with someone to help me be better at sport and run fast, or I work with someone who's run fast and plays sport, because the connection between the two is like a match made in heaven. Like I always joke with people, and I'll go on tangents, but like I always come up with these stupid jokes in my head. It's like, how do you know an S&C coach has never played sport? Because they're going to program heavy lower body weights the day after or 2 days after you've played. Because they just don't get it. But that's what the certification said. You got to maintain your maximal strength. Well, you can fuck off, mate, because my legs are tired.
Yeah.
I feel that. Man, that's crazy, because a lot of guys will, because I mean Jay and I know we've been around, and yourself, you've been around the industry, and you get with strength and conditioning coaches and you see their programming, and day to day, 2 days out of the game, you're doing something crazy, and you're like, coach, like, bro, I just played the game. I'm hurting. I can't make it through this.
Yeah.
And you say,
yeah, and
you say
I'm
very.
But you don't.
Yeah, so you say very results driven. What do you like? So for you and your results, like what are you doing to get your results, and how are you tracking your results?
Yeah, no, I love that. And just as a sort of tangent, at the club that I got fired from, I got fired for basically saying that injured players shouldn't be training. he was waiting for shoulder reconstructive surgery. And like, I was like, he shouldn't play. Week later, week later, yeah, you're gone. Here's 3 months payout. And I was like, well, there you go. And then that's when the American football stuff started. Like I talked to you about off there, but the results. So one of the ways that I think gets really confused about how we categorize results, and I'm a big categorization person. My dyslexic brain needs railroads, it needs train tracks. You know, like if you're on the O-line, you got to get on the train tracks and you pick your reads. And so when I'm thinking about, well, what results mean what? And I know that running fast in a straight line is probably the most specific quality that I can do before we start playing football or rugby. Because if I can run fast in a straight line, I'm going to be better at everything else. So we just work backwards from that and say, well, what speeds do the majority of people need to hit? Not the Tyreek Hills, right? Not, well, what's the everyman going to be able to hit, and what can I actually change? So, we can get most athletic males above 9 meters per second easy. If we can get 80% of that inside 20 meters, win it. And we just use little wearables or speed gates, something like that, we'll win it. If I can get over 5 meters in under a second, try to stop me. If I can get under 10 in 1.6, around 1.6 seconds, you ain't catching. So those are sort of like the benchmark times that we look at, and then we work backwards from there. It's like, if you're looking at 3 things in a row, it's like, well, if that's not moving, the strength is going up. Well, we've got a problem here. We don't have a problem with strength. So we've got to find where's our power, where's our specific strength, and what are our specific skills of speed. And well, they do it, because most players and most athletes then will watch an NFL workout highlight reel on YouTube in the internet. I did as a kid, and I punched in a trainer like that. And not knowing that was the wrong way to train. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
that makes perfect sense. So when you look at breaking down those three sections, and you're talking about somebody has good power, but the speed is lacking, how do you get those two to balance out, or bring one higher than the other, whatever the focus is for the position specific, or whatever the athlete is trying to attain?
Yeah, it's a great question. And these are the kind of because there's what call it, you kind of like the specificity gaps. Weight room, field, and then weight room, running fast. There's these gaps which are just aren't addressed. And so if I've got someone who's really powerful, the question is, well, why the fuck can't they put one foot in front of the other properly? And how much better do we need to make that? And you see, and this is the gap with the speed stuff. A lot of my work is trying to help close that gap for as many people as possible. The people up here, the track and field coaches, they are going to push you to measure joint angles and be specific on ground contact times and all that sort of stuff. Does none of them ever play sport? None of them know how much that stuff doesn't actually matter on the field, because when you've got someone trying to take your head off, that's all they know. They massively go, stay your lane, run down the track 100 meters. Slightly life dependent on it. But for us, it's about, well, it's what happened with George Juice, is the O-line man that we got. We didn't worry about technique at all. We used exercises that helped encourage technique. Because if I've got a big O-line that I'm like, well, if you put this foot here and we want to look at this metal, you ain't going to come back. Because there's O-line coach telling that every Sunday.
No.
And so we create exercises that teach the technique, and we just try to minimize the error. That's what we try to do. And if you decrease the error, I've got power, let's decrease the error in the skill. Just like shedding all those things, see, we can just do it consistently without focusing like too much. And they fly. And they absolutely fly. 'Cause it's like a language, speed. Running's like a language in the body. Like, you know if you're on your route, like, you know if you set it or you know if you don't get that step right. And you're like, next time, that's what I've got to push on. Like my first 2-3 steps. And if you just hit those bits, then you're already taking the biggest gift. We talk about certifications. The biggest gift that they've ever given us is that all the rubbish coaches just make athletes stronger. So by the time they come to guys that like speed, it's a really easy job. They're like, am I going to do strength training? No. The reason they're here is to do too much. That's what it's
Yeah, that's interesting because you got a lot of guys that have a lot of power and stuff, but when you talk about speed, sometimes guys don't understand what they're trying or how they're trying to apply their speed or where they want to apply it at. And you'll get guys that are coming to you now that want to either train for combine training or just get faster to be faster on the field. How do you differentiate the two?
Yeah. So again, like it's a good question because what I love about combine is that for most people, when they see a lot in the NFL combine, and Lewis, we said it recently, where they do it with a fucking stopwatch and it's all fake and all that sort of stuff. And so what you're like, they're already drafted. Like, it's all hustle publicity, and so like top choice in the LAPD as a backer. So when we're looking at, I just want to make sure a guy can run half decent on the day and not get hurt when he does it. When we had, I helped Glenn Cadell, I've often Tunga and David Zillion for the CFL combine. And in a short period of time, we took 3/10 off of David's 40. And it was like 6 sessions worth. So
6 sessions.
3 weeks. Yeah, and we took 3/10 off of his 40. And that's because
you say that was in relation to
nature. Yeah, he's a freak. And so he was like, all I had to do is teach him. The thing that Andy couldn't do is the thing that makes him really good on the field, is that he couldn't get out of these late stages of acceleration. And by the time when he was playing, late stage acceleration, he is smashing the living daylights out. So he never had to get out of it. So he had to teach him to get out of it. Once he got out of it, you got this human being that you don't want to be in front of. And then 3 times later, it's that simple. And so it is, again, just make sure they show up and look pretty. It's kind of like a beauty pageant, really. And then how to get them on the day for the field is about. So I have a 4-step model, which is that general speed, specific speed, special speed, and tactical speed. So our general speed is kind of like what everyone thinks about, it's just running fast in a straight line or pre-plan and change directions. The next stage is, can you do that fast within the specific distances of your game? So we would focus on a Y out a little bit differently to a slot. Their distance, their specific clean distances would just be slightly different because of the way that their game requires them to run. So then from there, if we would just take what we learned in the first in general speed, how much of it can we use? Do we need to tune that to get more out of it and more repeatability? And then we're going to look at the special speed, which should be like indies. Indies are like specialized speed. So we start to factor in the context of the game. So it's like, well, you can run X in 20 yards, but can you then catch a ball at that speed? And how much of that speed can we find when you catch ball? And how much is left to burn? So no, you guys, anytime catch ball, you want to score. I'm not worrying about putting this down. I'm don't tell me.
I'm usually trying to prevent that.
Oh yeah, well
we're on the defensive side of the ball, so we both trying to prevent the score.
I hate to see that.
Yeah, unless I'm returning kicks, then I'm trying to score.
Yes. That's it, straight to the house. So then it even left from a defensive point of view. So understanding like specialized and then tactical schemes for you guys, we want to look at how much like the relationship between your left and your right shoulders on your ability to travel backwards on 45-degree angles when you're recovering, and how much of that, what we can do forwards can we find backwards. So that's what we want to understand, that relationship, because a lot of how many like all footballers are assessed on how fast they can run forward, but a lot of defenses are going backwards. So why are we looking at that? And then the tactical element, and this is where it kind of extends, it's like that hybrid speed coach, performance coach. I wouldn't say technical coach, because performance coach is then saying, well, how can you then, everything that you've built up until now, how can we then start turning you into a game changer? What do we know? Like I was working with a female soccer player recently. She always thought she was a left back and always got beat cutting in off the side. The wheel come down to her, she'll cut in. She would always lose that battle. That's what we're going first. Because if we can clean that up, then we're in. Because then we're influencing the game tactically, so you become better at the game, and then you can just level. So you work that situation all the way back. Yeah, she was going fast, but first thing coming over with her shoulder, to keep your shoulder in line with the defender, the attacker, coming in, that ability to scissor her legs and transfer, she's just really bad at it. So as she was on the turn, those 2-3 steps, that attacker would just close the space and beat her. Because they're probably meant to teach her to fall away faster and harder, knowing that when a defender, it's all about reading then, isn't it? When an attacker's cutting in, they only one way they go, they're not coming back out. If they see the hole, they want to read your shape, pull, come in, they're not always keep coming in. And they're just cleaning those ends out. And the coach just like, what's happened? She's not got better at football, or she's got better at the utilization of her own movement to be best. So that's
And
how
what is that? That was it. You're just saying like that transition out.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with soccer.
Yeah, so it's basic feedback. If you're on like pass first and you're shadowing, when they cut in, it's going with them.
Gotcha.
So like so it's kind of like as well like with a fire route, if you're sitting under a fly and then they break, it's about keeping that separation and learning to do that, and that transitional. So I don't like looking at it as like change of direction or agility, because that's when people start thinking they have to reinvent the wheel. It's just not sprinting in a straight line, because all the movements are the same. You just have to get your head down. Over that first day in American football, the quarterback that we had, he throw, like he did play out in Europe, and he could throw. I know you throw, I'll just go up there and run a D down. But turn out, boom, just ringing off my head, right? And that taught me so much about speed, so I could execute it, but I couldn't do the tactical. I couldn't get my hands on it in time. And then that rip our back and stuff like that. I was like, I figured out how to catch and turn. I think I never had to do that in rugby, for example.
And if I take it back to like when we were talking about David, and you were talking about, late stages of acceleration, how did you help him on that? And how did you know that was the part that he was missing on?
Yeah, because it's a great question. And this is where you can unlock so much of like understanding some really simple relationships. So he walks along from the side and they're doing like a 15-meter sprint or a 20-yard. All you have to do is make sure there's some constant line to start off with. Make sure there's some constant line behind them, comprising, if possible, a fence line, whatever. Because when they slide at shooting point, all you need to see is that it's getting higher and higher and higher in relation to that line. What a lot of people do that are very strength and power dominant, which David was, he would come and just flat like that. His hips would just zoom out. And from a science point of view, it's called a parabolic relationship in physics. So we become like a projectile. So you throw it all, it comes down. So all you have to imagine is the center of mass is that ball. So every time we put the foot into the ground, it will kind of like throw the ball again. And we have to maximize the point at which that center of mass, or the ball, is at its highest and fastest point, to get the foot back down underneath it, to push it again into space, and then push it again into space. So I always use a cumular step up the hill. That's why hill sprints work really well, because you're doing that for you anyway. So all we have to do is focus on that. We didn't really do anything heavy. We taught him how to get out fast, because the relationship between how far you can move your hip forward in the first couple of steps is what we're going to turn into vertical. So the space between your hip and your heel over the first few steps is also going to be where is it when we get upright. So we're talking just to get longer there, to then get to access speed there, and we did nothing heavy. So all the resistance and stuff that we did wasn't. I was a bit cheeky with him. I found the load that it felt really, really good for him, and then I made it lighter. Because when it felt really, really good for him, it was what he was comfortable doing. But what made him comfortable doing is speed. Speed requires less resistance, and you have to lighten up just a little bit to then find it, so you unload the resistance in order to bring speed out of athletes. So
How did you roll that?
Teasing game. I used an exogene with a pulley, but you could do the same in the sled.
Okay.
Easily. And even with George Julius, we just used a hill.
Mhm.
And we were really lucky at the part where we had a hill, and the way that we just to change the intensity of the way you use a hill is you never sprint up it as fast as you can. I created a game called Speedgate Golf, which is basically, if you're going to do 5x5 or 3 sets of 10 in the gym, you're not loading maximally. And so if you've got a team sport athlete who's strong in the gym, can't dunk a shit, and has never really sprinted, but they are powerful enough, they get by on the field, like most team sport athletes, even like the guys in the NFL, why are we trying to sprint them as fast as we can? If we know that a depth strike is the most intensive plyometric we can do, and maximum velocity sprinting is the most intensive activity that we can do, surely there's a spectrum in between that we can play with.
Mhm.
So I created a game based on that app, which it's essentially, can you run 10 meters in 2 seconds, which is like a 75% velocity. So you're decreasing velocity. And I've used it at the club at 5 and in 6 weeks we had pretty much lifetime best across the board. We did that 2 sessions a week, just had to do 20 or 30 runs of it, and build that up over the week. So then when you use that hill, it's the same principle. Your intensity guide is the speed that you run, because for every step that you take past 2-3 steps, you're at 8-9 times body weight, pushing hard and fast, and that's a huge load on the body anyway. So we got to hold our ace cards as long as possible, and then that's how you can. I was just in a conversation with an athlete this morning. They were, I want to do this. So like, do you know you can do it? Yeah, so why we do it? You don't max out all the time, do you? So you want to do it because you don't really care. You ain't showing off to me. I already know you can do it. You got to do it on the field.
So when you're taking these guys through a lot of these drills, and you're trying to, show them where the hip placement is, or show them, where you want to contact the ground and all that stuff. And we're talking about, the hip projection of kind of gradually taking off like a plane or coming uphill. How are you showing them? Because, some of these guys, you can tell And some guys are
Yeah.
like us or like me, myself, I know are visual. So I need to like see like the video of like what you're talking about to be able to know
Yeah.
where it's going. So what are you using to kind of help every athlete kind of get what you're saying?
Yeah. So what I'm always looking for is it's almost like a game of you open doors to get into bigger rooms. So as soon as I find like my first problem, as soon as when we use, so let me change that. So it all starts with how you start ultimately. So I have a system and a framework called drill stacking, where we're going to look at like the ankle, for example. So we focus drills like wall drill variations, for example, to completely emphasize the ankle. And we focus on the segment of the ankle. And you say to the athlete, think about the ankle, just focusing on your ankle. Then we start putting a bit of the pattern of like hip extension or hip flexion. So can you move your hip and keep your ankle still? Can you flex your hip and keep your ankle still? Now can you do that and exchange the bet, keep your ankle still? And so you go all the way up to segment, movement, pattern, and then skill of acceleration. So that whole time, we'll then use another system, a framework called learn, low, and execute. So that first thing that we've done in segment is what we teach with. The thing that we do with the movement and the pattern is what we load with. And then when we execute, you say, right, all I want to do is do 2-point starts, go forward really fast. And then you just go again and again and again and again. You can do it like 20, 30 times in a session. So, and always looking at that confirmation language. Like, did you feel that? Can you understand that? And then as soon as they can get out, as a perfect example, as soon as they're just covering more ground from that first step, so we'll get that foot back on the ground and keep that ankle stiff. Because if you can keep the ankle stiff, you can push your hip into the space in front of you. And then they'll fail. They won't be able to do it. And then that's when we can start saying, well, let's look how we get the leg back down. Here's a little bit of a tape. I try not to use too much footage with my players because I want them to feel it in their body because they know how to do it. They know what feels good. And then it's about making them feel good because as soon as they start, the body starts. It's just everyone's body's designed to move in a certain way, and we've got to figure out what that is for them. Because you've got short shins, long femurs, long bodies, short legs, and it's about navigating that. And when I had Alex Pray, when he was at the Falcons, he was 6'6", and his legs were as long as his torso. He was equal. You want short torso, long legs. He weighed 115 kilos, and we got him over 23 miles an hour, inside 40. And his best workout like he could do was just for against the cat. First time, it's 40 meters, 40 meter accelerations. He broke 9 meters per second, which is 21 mile an hour, 6 times in 10 minutes. And that was like, you're ready to go. That is this, because when it's like everyone says, I found this speed. You don't know how many times. Did you do it in the car? Did you put your GPS on you and drive? Or did you attach it to your dog? Or, did you do it when it counts? And that's what you incentivize the player, but it's like, could I hit my time? No, I could. Why? You got to do it twice. And that's consolidation. You got to own the adaptation. You got to own it. And then when you're achieving those, it's like your new 1RM. Once you get your new 1RM, you've got to come down on a few levels and then rebuild yourself back up. And a lot of coaches don't. The logic that we lose is that it's all the same process as when you would improve someone's squat or their bench while it's all the same logic applies, but just because you can't measure the new level of weight that's going on the bar, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. And so all you have to do then is say if you did, argument's sake, let's say that we did, with George, we did 520s, 510s up the hill. It was 150 kilos, so 300 pounds, 520s, 510s, and that's conditioning. So then we had to work, well, let's see if we can get down to 2 fast 20s up the hill and 2 fast 10s up the hill. And then we got a PB. It's like, okay, so that process, let's just go back to 520s and 510s because we're just doing it a little bit faster now. I mean, just because you can't measure it all the time doesn't mean that that doesn't exist because it's already faster. So then that's when trusting the process, and trusting your instincts. Every coach can make someone stronger, but they think there's a secret sauce to making people fast and this stuff. That's just logic.
I wanted to go back and ask you about the Speedgate Golf because I did listen to your podcast about on Just Fly about the Speedgate Golf, and I was more so interested into your yeah, that was a really great podcast by the way too. But I was more so interested in like your implementation of it, and if you see advanced athletes having a better ability to control like submaximal intensities versus more so like intermediate or beginner athletes.
Yeah, that's a cool question. What I'll answer it. What at the moment you guys are playing and doing a bit of coaching? Are you working with youth and
Yeah, so I work with a little bit of youth and then some more so advanced athletes in Budapest, like race car drivers and some like Olympic athletes.
Awesome, nice. Are you doing much coaching at the moment?
So I'm not as much as I was before. But before I was more on the youth side of things, kind of working with football, soccer, and handball athletes. And then back in the States, a lot of soccer athletes too. But mostly on the youth side of things.
Didn't win a city. Waving my some losers to me. Where did you have the most fun? Was when I was working with the 16 to 19-year-olds. Because they are great to work with. They are full of piss and vinegar, ready to rock, and they just want to go. And there's not a lot of money involved. They're still playing because they love to play. They're not in the business yet. And so with the Speedgate Golf side of things, it's really interesting. A lot of even some of the advanced guys don't know how to use their gears. So the race car drivers, like one of the arts of racing is by knowing how to build speed in the car to maintain. I've been watching Drive to Survive, so I'm expert on Formula One now, right? But it's an interesting speed where they break it down into sections and they understand pace. A lot of players don't understand pacing with their velocity because an effective route is not always a fast route. An effective car is not always a fast. And you guys as defenders, you can box in a receiver at half pace if you know your speed. I always, when I was playing rugby, I'd go inside, outside, and then straight down the shoot with my defender. Every time, the first 3 times I got the ball. Then I don't know what to do for the rest of the game because I knew what he didn't want. So I'll just do that. And then I'll know, actually, how fast do I need to run? It's probably not my max anyway, because you don't want to be there anyway. So then you reverse engineer that problem, and that's why the Speedgate Golf works so well, is that you're actually teaching a player to own different percentages of their speed, because you're getting specific conditioning, because it's submaximal sprinting, and you're getting really good conditioning of the body, good aerobic conditioning, and then you do 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. What we find, and I did it at a conference, I was at a seminar recently with guru coaches, and there are a lot of coaches that don't know truly how to run, let alone coach speed, whether you want to coach speed. And that's why I love working with those guys, and we played Speedgate Golf. I was like, just set it up. What happens every time, I never get tired of seeing it, is that after about 10 goes, as a group, someone gets close to the number, right? And then all of a sudden people just start hitting it. They get closer and closer and closer because they're listening to the time between the gates for the first beat and the second beat, and then they watch the technique. Like this guy did it right, so I'm going to copy in, and then it just sort of snowballs and snowballs. So for a practical application, I do some personalized. I use it with anyone and everyone, but more advanced guys, it's a really good like a GPP tool that you would use in your early phases of speed work in the off season. It's like we're gonna run some 30 meters, Speedgate Golf. What time? 4 seconds, or 4.5, or 5, or whatever that they could do. So well, they should send those. So you can get 5 seconds in around 5-10 times. Sweet, we're cruising at 75%. And then we'll start building, because then what they also forget is that they're running in gates. Because everyone shoots the bed when they're running in gates. And that was why you put because that was the reason why I got out. Because I couldn't test anyone, and I was pretty tired of saying that my athletes are good because they can squat. It was like, we need to let these guys fast, so I need to measure them more frequently. And so that's kind of how it is that they end up loving gates and can run freely through them. And from a more of a specialized element, it won't be like you pass the ball down the line, 4 sets of hands just to work on passing ability. So you would have one gate at the start in the first round, one gate at the finish for the fourth guy. So the first guy would run through the gate with the ball, and then they'd have to pass the ball down the line, and then the last one would finish. So everyone is understanding distance, time, and speed. But the first guy couldn't finish behind the last guy. So they would be staggered, but they'd finish flat. And then we could load on that. So now we're combining the game with the speed. And, depth perception is huge. You got a defender in, you get one in the middle, just herring around, and it becomes a great game. You're getting so much speed data and speed loading, and they just think they're playing. So there's so many ways you can skin it. So yeah, it's sort of ever evolving,
So how did you come up with, figuring out these measurements, these numbers, and like where to test, when to test, how to test, like all this stuff behind it? Because obviously, like when you first start out, you're kind of just like, you throw something out there, you're trying to see what works. But how did you figure out, hey, this is what I need to focus on, and this will help you get to this?
Yeah, I think so. One of the best things that I have on my side is being dyslexic and coming from a family of very practical people. And my granddad was a master. Yeah, he was a master carpenter. So, like, when you get your hands dirty and you like make things and you play things, your brain works so differently. So what you may be able to see is you're starting to see the relationships build the way that you would build a company. You see it before it's done. So then you start striving to see the interplays. So if I want to know what this is, I need to understand what that is. And if I block the right leg for wood, for example, I need to make the right cut. And I need the right tool to make the right cut. And so that's when, if I know, it's the same logic that I've applied to strength, power, speed metrics, and the interplay between all of them. And so if every strength coach will want to measure and write down every weight they lift, well, why aren't we doing that with girls? And so if I can get a higher frequency of data, and that data being a medicine ball throw, a broad jump, if I can get a higher frequency of those measurements of data, then I can understand the next piece of the puzzle. And it comes back to one of the first guy that I ever interned with at Shadow Fruit. His name was James Smith, and he's one of the smartest guys ever, and he helped translate for Italian Berkshire. So he's so smart. And he sat down with me and he said, if your training philosophy can be applied to a carpenter, a baker, businessman, on how you generate results, then you understand it. As soon as you can come out of just measuring minutiae, then you're going to be able to make some serious progress. And that always stuck with me. It's so funny in our industry where is another one is that I heard is really profound, is that people in academia argue fearlessly about who's right and wrong because the stakes are actually so low. No one gives a shit about your study. Everyone gives a shit about results because you can't argue with results. So all like the, go to the conference, like, what does your guy power clean? What did your guy do? And all this sort of stuff. It's like, shut up. Shut up. Who's winning? Who's winning? Who's healthy?
Yeah.
Who's winning? So that's how I how I fix it and how I play with it, and sort of now how I teach it. People are nice giving coaches confidence to let go of the barbell. But you step away from the barbell because our psychological attachment to weights on the bar and performance improvement is really wrong. It's so wrong. Because as we know, it doesn't help for 95% of the problems that we need to solve.
That's interesting. I know you got to go soon. So the last question I'm gonna ask you, Sam, is you have one piece of advice for all the coaches out there and coaches that are getting started in the industry. What would it be?
It's a great question. What I would say is if you want to go to the room, learn how to move. Best way to learn how to move is play sport. You become a better coach being able to play sport. And if you coach and you do play sport, don't coach the way you were coached. You have to coach the way you feel you should coach.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Put that on a billboard somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. That might be the title of the whole episode, Sam. I appreciate you coming on, man. Always a bunch of knowledge. We're gonna stay in contact. People, if you are out there, you're listening, you watched, always hit the subscribe, comment, like, and reach out to Sam. You know what I mean? Like he's got plenty of knowledge out there for you. You can reach him on Instagram. He hit us up. He was super excited to come on. KG kind of dropped your name for us, and we appreciate y'all and appreciate you, Sam, man. Like there's a lot of knowledge in there to gain from it. I know I'm gonna watch this one back and learn some things from you and how can I implement it with my athletes, myself. So appreciate you, Sam. That is episode number 6, and we're out of here.
Appreciate it.